Thank you for taking the time to watch this video and beginning the journey of importing other languages into Nemesis. I've spent many hours working on this mod, and it's amazing that as many people who are playing it and stuff. And the more people we can get to play it, the more it validates the hours that I have spent working on. So I love it. Thank you. Let's share this with everybody. So I've tried to create a seamless process in bringing in other stuff to make it as easy as possible for you. So I'm going to try to cover that in this video and show you how to get that done. So to start, you're going to already need a basic understanding of how to create mods in Tabletop Simulator and importing custom objects. If you need help with that, I have a bunch of resources, and it'd be great if you can get yourself connected with me in my Discord channel. And here's the link here. And if you have questions, I'm typically here and we'll be able to answer them, or other people are very helpful to get you going in that. So please join here, and I'll cover you a few things of how to operate Tabletop Simulator. But really, you should have kind of a basic understanding already. So I apologize if I try to speak fast and go through things, but I really want this to work for you. So just ask and we will help you out. There's going to be a couple different ways that you're going to need to import the new content into this. And let's see, we'll go over those real quick. So the first one's a simple replacement, and I'll cover that. And here's all the decks that you can just simply replace. But then there's a few decks that you're going to have to manually replace them, and that's going to be updating their GUIDs. And that's going to take a little bit of scripting, and I'll show you that. It should be fairly easy once you kind of see what I've done there. And then you're going to want to go through and maybe translate some of the buttons and some of the messages. That's up to you. And I'll show you how to do that too. So, and the last thing, don't touch the beard. Alright, so to begin here, I got an example. Here's my old events deck, and here's a new events deck. And back over here. And you can import these any way you want them. They don't have to be done the same way that I've done them, but if you just go to the custom menu, copy this link, you can see how I built my decks. If you're curious, some of them are a little bit more crazier and elaborate, but this one's pretty simple. So if you're ever curious on what I've done, you can just check out the custom deck there. So the way I've made this simple is every time you want to manipulate an object with scripting, you have to have the GUID of that object. And so you can right click and see here, this is the GUID of that deck. And GUIDs are always different. They're never going to have an object, two objects with the same GUID. So I have built scripting to help that process. Instead of manually having to put each GUID code into the script, it's automatic. So whatever deck you put inside this scripting zone here, this scripting zone is going to automatically load that GUID into the script. So you don't even need to think about it. So it's real simple. Like I said, just replace it, drag the old one out, the new one in, and leave that one. See it? You're good to go. And you'll just go down this list to all the crew actions, all equipment cards, the panic. Ooh, that is no longer in the game now. So we'll be fixing that later. But yeah, just go down this list here. The engines, if you need to translate them, feel free. If not, they're pretty straightforward. That really depends on your language and the amount of people that maybe pick up on English. So that's how to simply replace. But there is one other issue, because of the fact that we used to have two objects here. Let me switch to my zones. Here's the scripting zones again. But now we have three objects. So I am planning on, with a newer mod, fixing this somehow. I haven't quite figured out what I'm going to do yet. But what I've done in the meantime is I just put one there. The primary weapon will go there. And then just stack the other two right next to it. And these should line up nice and neat. So let's switch back to your scripting zone. everything is good. As long as this card isn't in that scripting zone, maybe we'll scoot it over just a little bit more. There you go. You just want to make sure your objects aren't crossing over to the zones, and there's only one deck in the zone. So yeah, again, that's what I've done there. The primary gun here, the primary weapon, and then their two other pieces of equipment can go there. And again here, so here's the old captain's deck. Gotta move that. Fine. And then drop that one there. Put over. Check the scripting zone. Make sure it's okay. That looks good. And yeah, now you're done. So whenever the game loads, it will automatically pull in the new GUIDs for all those cards. So that's how you get past the first phase. Now we're going to get into the little trickier stuff, and we're going to have to start manipulating some of the code. Because of the way the scripting works, we need to know specific GUIDs of the cards, and so it'd be very difficult to script these in an automatic manner. So it is much easier just to replace the GUIDs that are already in the code. So the first one is going to be the player order, and that's going to be what's in this bag here. And make sure when you put these cards in here that they are not a stack, but they all go in individually. If you choose not to translate these, you don't need to worry about it. And they also they weren't updated in the PNP, the print and play file. So I don't know, they'll probably look different maybe. And you'll see what you'll need to do is get Atom. This app works as a plugin with Tabletop Simulator to manipulate the scripting. And there's a guide for that. Again, just hit me up in my Discord channel if you want help getting this up and running. There's a good guide already on the internet to help you with that. So once you're in the scripting, go to global. This is where most of the code is at. Click on global, and then here just scroll down, and right up here on the top you're going to see turn order cards, and there's going to be turn order card GUID 1, and there's 2, 3, 4, 5. So what you'll need to do, once you get your 5 cards in here, right click your card, go to scripting, click on the GUID of that card, come into Atom, and then just overwrite the old one. Since it's the same thing, of course it's not going to change. And then just save your script, and you'll do that. There's a hotkey. So you can right click, go to Tabletop Simulator, and save and play. A tip, you want to make sure before you start scripting, you need to save your object, or I'm sorry, you need to save the game first. So go make a save file for it, and then once everything's imported, then you can start manipulating your code. Because if you save this, it's going to load the last save that you've done, and if you haven't saved your objects in that save, they're all going to disappear. So make sure you save first here before you start manipulating code in Atom. So you go through, and then you'll just replace the GUIDs of all 5 of these cards. So that was the first one, and then now the second step is the primary objective cards, and you're going to run it through this deck fixer. The problem with decks is they don't properly keep GUIDs of every card in here. I can pull out a card and I'll get this GUID, and I put it back, and I can pull out another card and I'll get the same GUID even though it's a different card. So that deck fixer, you'll run it through that. It will then make sure that every card gets an individual GUID. No matter what, it will always pull and get that GUID. It's a long story. Just run it through that deck fixer, and it will fix that. So what you're going to have to do with your primary objectives is go through and separate them all into one player, two player. Clear this out of the way here. Separate them all into the 1 players and 2 players and 5 player games. And technically, you don't need to worry about the 1 players only, because they're going to be in every game no matter what. So you don't even need to worry about those. It's these other ones. So once you get them all separated, so let's just say I have my 5s, 2s, and 3s, and I think there's a 4 somewhere, maybe. So let's start over here with the code. So here's your primary objectives, and here are the 2 player objectives. There are 3 player, there's 4, then 5. So you'll need to go through for every of your 2 player objectives. Code needs to be replaced. So here's a 2 player. So you'll right click, click on your GUID code, come in here, and just overwrite the one that's already there. You don't have to do that for all of them. And then here's a 3 player, get your code, come over here, and then same thing here. Just go through and replace all of them with the GUIDs for your cards. And you may want to, once you've run through that a couple times, you may need to just double check, kind of load the mod up, run it a few times and see, make sure that it's pulling everything that it's supposed to pull. Okay, so for the third part now, we'll need to go into translate buttons and messages if you want to have those translated. So let's pull up Atom, and you can scroll through here, and you're going to see messages. The messages are in yellow, almost the same as this. Here's a button, and here's the tooltip. So you can replace that one. Here's the label. This is the full setup button. If you want to change that, feel free. Here's the label. You can change that. This is something you can't change, even though that's in yellow. That's a part of the scripting. There's a tooltip. You want to change that. Here are the messages. So if you want to change messages, you can go ahead and just change those to what you want. If you want to just zero them out so there's nothing there. If you're afraid to touch too much, go ahead and just leave empty spots in there. So this here too, this is just text. You can change these things if you want to. See if it says note, you can change that to. You also want to, you can even do it quicker. Do Control Find, look for print. Let's change that to broadcast. There we go, to all, and then we'll find you all your broadcasts. So this is the message here. This is for the scripting stuff. You can ignore that. Hit find. Here's something. So this is going to broadcast to everybody. If you wanted to, you can change this message. Don't change that. It's going to change the code. Just change these things here. This little piece of code right here puts a return in the message. So we'll display this on one line and then display this on the line underneath it. So if you want to add more of those or less of those, that's what that's for. Here it again, message. This is what the message is. So this will be the crew member that dies at the beginning, the random crew member. So you can change the, give your space there, and you can change this here, all it's into yellow. Just don't change that. If you want to change that, the crew name, you can see up here, crew name table, and these are the names. You can change these here. another thing to change. So you kind of just go through here. If you feel like you want to change it, go ahead. If not many of the messages are too important. It also includes the scanner. If you want to go to the scanner, the code for that is separate. And let's just print all. Go ahead and just change that little line there, or change that line there. Another line to change, and those ones there. So all the ones that say print there. Alright, and that will be it. As long as you remember, don't touch the beard. Okay, it's bad. Don't touch the beard. It's there for a special thing, so. Well, thank you for taking the time to watch this video. I hope it made it short and to the point. Again, please feel free to ask questions. I want to help you make this possible. So thank you for making it possible. So you guys are amazing, and have a good life.